And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? Just like every other day of the week, we have got a fantastic show for you today. You know what? You're just going to love it. So just sit back, enjoy, get yourself a cocktail or a cup of coffee, relax in your favorite chair, and then listen to the show. We've got some wonderful things for you. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then, of course, we'll be doing our new segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. On today's special segment, well, I'm going to be telling you how to make the most of a loan from your company, and I'm going to also answer your emails today. And then right after that, we'll be with Dr. Wireless, our own Joel Salzman. He'll be here talking about wireless technology and what's going on in the technology world. And like always, there's always going to be some fantastic deals that he's going to have available. I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. Can't wait for that to happen. A little later on the show, we'll start giving you some weather for other places on our global network, and so you'll know that what's going on there. But right now, I want to talk to you about the news, and we've taken the 10 top things in the news, we've encapsulated them, so we can talk to you briefly about them, and you'll be able to talk to your friends and your neighbors, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the world today. Let's start off with the 10 things to know for Wednesday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow too. And right up at the top, well, a man charged with planting bombs in New York and New Jersey, investigators say Ahmad Khan Rahami planted 2 bombs in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood and 2 in New Jersey. And the United States holds Russia responsible for airstrikes that hit an aid convoy. And the White House deputy says, National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes says that since the Syrian rebels lack an air force, that means either Syria or Russia conducted the strikes. And Obama makes the last speech as president to the UN General Assembly. He calls for a course correction to ensure forces of globalization don't lead nations to ignore the most vulnerable. And what authorities say they found in an SUV of unarmed man fatally shot by the Tulsa police? Well, investigators found PCP in the vehicle of the black man killed by a white officer. Lawyers for his family say that still wouldn't justify shooting him. Well, that's true. Just finding the PCP wouldn't. And we'll talk to you more about that a little bit later. Nigeria sues over $12 billion in illegal oil exports to the United States. You know what? The federal high court in Lagos begins hearing next week in cases against Nigerian subsidiaries of Chevron, British Dutch Shell, Italian Eni's Agrip, and France's Total and Brasoil of Brazilian Petrobras. And then racial tensions spike in Minnesota. Pickups were spotted driving through Somali neighborhoods, honking and waving Confederate flags all day after a Somali-American man stabbed 10 people at a mall. And a summer of extremes the climate scientists warned about. You know what? This summer featured floods and droughts that killed hundreds and dozens, caused dozens of billions in losses around the globe. You know, but yet everybody still resists global warming. You know what? If global warming is a fact and we do something about it, it doesn't hurt anybody. It just kind of helps our planet. If it's not a fact, it still doesn't hurt anybody. It just kind of helps our planet. I don't see why they're fighting this thing. Well, Brangelina, no more. Angelina Jolie Pitt files for divorce from Brad Pitt, bringing an end to one of the world's most star-studded tabloid-generated romances. And the United States senators heap criticism on Wells Fargo CEO. This after John Stump said that he was deeply sorry that the bank didn't act sooner to stop employees from opening millions of unauthorized accounts to meet sales quotas. And then finally, who lost its best defense man? Well, a hit by Finland's Leo Komarov on Aaron Ekblad changed Team North America's course at the World Cup of Hockey. Ekblad was concussed and will not return for the rest of the tournament. Wow. You know what? I guess concussion doesn't just happen in football, huh? No, probably not. Well, you know what? Let's talk about some more in-depth news. I think that's the thing we ought to be getting to right now. Let's talk about police try to quell anger after the shooting triggers an unrest. Authorities tried to quell public anger and correct what they characterize as false information today after a night of looting and arson added Charlotte to the list of U.S. cities that have erupted in violence over the death of a black man at the hands of police. With officials refusing to release any video of the shooting of 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott, two starkly different versions emerged. Police say Scott disregarded repeated demands to drop his gun, while neighborhood residents say he was holding a book, not a weapon, as he waited for his son to get off the school bus. The killing inflamed racial tensions in a city that seemed to have steered clear of the troubles that engulfed other places. As Charlotte's white mayor and black police chief stood at City Hall and appealed for calm African-American leaders who said they were speaking for Scott's family, held their own news conference near where he was killed on Tuesday, reminding the crowd of other shootings and abuses of black men. Seems to me that they're not showing the video, and if they have the video, why aren't they showing the video? Something smells fishy here, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing that video before long. Well, while illuminating, Tulsa videos leave out the key details. Police in Tulsa, Oklahoma broadly released dash cam and aerial footage, 911 calls, and police radio traffic with unusual swiftness following last Friday's shooting death of an unarmed black man by a white officer. But what actually transpired on the Tulsa street between Terrence Crutcher and Officer Betty Shelby remains kind of murky. So here's what the videos show. Two different views, one from a police helicopter and the other from Officer Tyler Turnbow's dashboard camera. They provide the most illuminating footage. They both show the 40-year-old Crutcher walking with his hands in the air toward his SUV, which is stopped in the middle of the street and straddling the center line. A female officer is following him. As Crutcher approaches the driver's side of the SUV, more officers walk up, and Crutcher appears to lower his hands and place them on the vehicle. A man inside a police helicopter overhead says, "That looks like a bad dude, too. Probably on something." The officers surround Crutcher, blocking a clear view from the camera, and he suddenly drops to the ground. Someone on the police radio says, "I think he may have just been tasered." Then, almost immediately, a woman's voice is heard yelling on the police radio, "Shots fired," and Crutcher is left lying in the street. The officers slowly back away. Crutcher, his white shirt stained with blood, lies on the ground alone and unattended for nearly 2 minutes before an officer puts on medical gloves and begins to examine him. Emergency medical responders arrive about 4 minutes after he was shot. What the videos don't show? Well, you know what? Videos don't show what happened when Shelby first encountered Crutcher and the roughly 2 minutes that followed before other officers arrived. No dash cam footage exists from Shelby's car because she didn't activate her emergency lights, which in turn switches on the camera when she came upon the abandoned vehicle in the roadway. No body camera footage exists because Tulsa police have not implemented the devices for officers, despite receiving a federal grant to do so last year. Man, anyway, this whole thing smells. That's all I can say. It just doesn't make any sense. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Clinton and Trump. They decry the latest police shootings of that black man in Tulsa. We'll talk all about it after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news, but first I want you to know that at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. It's actually quite pleasant outside. It's beautiful. The sky is blue and clear. So let's get to the news. You know what? Clinton and Trump decry the latest police shootings of a black man. I just told you about that. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton decried a fresh round of police-involved shootings today, with the Republican nominee saying that he was very troubled by the killing of a black man by a white police officer in Oklahoma. Courting black voters who have long spurned Republicans, Trump's event in Cleveland Heights, New Spirit Revival Center, took a bizarre turn when he was introduced by boxing promoter Don King, who used a racial slur as he made the case for black voters to support Trump. Trump's latest foray into the black community not only sought to connect with voters in Cleveland, home to the large community of African-American voters, key to Clinton's prospects in Ohio, but also with moderate suburban voters who frequently hear Clinton describe Trump as extreme. King, introducing Trump, raised eyebrows when he said a black man is always framed by his skin color, recalling that he once told pop icon Michael Jackson, "If you're poor, you're a poor Negro. If you're rich, you're a rich Negro. An educated black man is an intelligent Negro." King, who's black, continued, if you're a dancing and sliding and gliding, and he used the N-word, the negative, I mean Negro, he said. You are a dancing and sliding and gliding Negro. Gasps and laughs could be heard from the audience. The King incident underscored the often clumsy way in which Trump has made his appeal to minority voters. Many black community leaders and voters have been offended by his dire depiction of life in minority communities. Trump's outreach has also been viewed cynically as an attempt by his campaign to soothe concerns among more moderate suburban voters. Well, you know what? Enough of that. I'm tired of that. And they're all playing for the votes. Every single one of them is playing for the votes. Just believe it. That's exactly what's going on. And I'm tired of it. How about they just tell us what they're going to do for the country and stop this baloney? It just drives me nuts. Well, the New York bombing case, most high profile since the Boston bombing that took place, at the Boston Marathon. The federal charges, which portray Ahmad Khan Rahami as a man bent on murderous destruction, set the stage for the most anticipated terror prosecution since the Boston Marathon bombing. As separate cases wind through the federal courts in New Jersey and New York, prosecutors are sure to reveal more about the bombings that injured 31 people in Manhattan and led to Rahami's capture early Monday morning in a shootout with police. A courtroom airing of those allegations is likely to conjure memories of the attempted Times Square bombing in 2010 and the Boston explosion 3 years later. Unusual incidents in which a defendant was captured alive after an attack was attempted or carried out. This latest prosecution is in keeping with the Justice Department's commitment to use America's civilian court system for terrorism cases. Wow. You know what? I'm just so fed up with this stuff, and I'm so fed up with terrorism and terrorists that it would be real easy for me to forget that we have a country with rights in it for everyone. It just really kind of drives me absolutely nuts. You know what? World leaders rage against neighbors on the second day of the UN debate. World leaders from Pakistan to Ukraine unleashed their regional grievances today, taking the stage of a UN General Assembly to rage against their neighbors and presenting a picture of a chaotic world consumed by intractable conflicts. A few paces from the General Assembly Hall, the United States and Russia bitterly attacked each other during a Security Council meeting meant to salvage Syria's faltering ceasefire. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon implored Syria's warring parties to lay down their arms. In the midst of the anger, a few bright spots emerged on the ground on the second day of the annual UN gathering of heads of states. Colombia basked in world praise when it presented its newly reached peace agreement with leftist rebels to the Security Council. Former political prisoner Aung San Suu Kyi made her first General Assembly speech since she formed a democratically elected government in Myanmar. But on the International Day of Peace, tensions from all parts of the planet filled the halls of the United Nations. Wow. You know what? The United Nations needs to do something to fix itself as well, I'm thinking. Don't you think it's about time? I certainly do. Well, here's one for you. The IRS chief tells the House panel he does not deserve impeachment. Yeah, well, the chief of the IRS fended off Republican demands today that he should lose his job, telling the House Judiciary Committee that he'd made statements about missing emails that later proved wrong but had done nothing to merit impeachment. At a 4.5-hour hearing on whether to oust him, John Koskinian repeatedly said that he cooperated fully with congressional investigators probing why his agency, before he joined it, subjected Tea Party groups seeking tax exemptions to excessive scrutiny. Conservatives leading a campaign year effort to remove him said Koskinian has headed in an agency that destroyed emails investigators wanted, and he should pay the price. When you destroy documents that are under subpoena, somebody's got to be held accountable for that, and that starts with you, said Representative Jason Chaffetz, a Republican from Utah, chairman of another committee that has had a long-running investigation of the IRS treatment of conservative organizations. Yeah, go figure. Well, listen, we're going to take a short break, one last short break here, or not a last short break, but it's going to be a short break anyway. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. In the first case here, it'll make you smile. The IRS must consider a company's tax payment plan, whether they want to or not. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Wow, it's getting a little hotter. It's up to 87 degrees right now in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's going down to 64. It needs to start going in the other direction. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 81 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 74 degrees. And it's a bit overcast right now. But you know what? Let's get to what you want to hear about, the good news, and that is the IRS loses. First case up, the IRS must consider a company's tax payment plan. You know what? A company lost money way back in 2005 and fell behind on paying its payroll taxes. Now, new owners returned it to profitability in 2006. At the start of the year, they proposed a plan to pay all current taxes starting in the second quarter of 2006 while paying off the back taxes in installments. But an IRS appeals officer rejected the plan, saying that he had to because the company wasn't paying its current first quarter 2006 taxes. The IRS started collection actions and the company went to court to get some justice. This is what the judge said. The appeals officer was simply wrong to say that he couldn't consider a reasonable payment plan because the current quarter's taxes weren't paid. The IRS is ordered to consider that plan right now. Yeah. Well, how about this? The IRS concedes. Yeah, I tell you all the time, the only time they ever concede is when they're pretty sure they're not going to prevail in tax court. And here's the deal. They're saying that a taxpayer can seek a new refund after agreeing not to. You know, a company settled an audit dispute with the IRS by signing IRS Form 870-AD, which says that the taxpayer will not make an additional refund claim and the IRS won't assess any new tax unless it discovers additional wrongdoing by the taxpayer. Then, the company filed a number of new refund claims. IRS auditors sought to dismiss them, citing the agreement. IRS legal opinion was this: Form 870-AD is not a closing agreement that finally settles a year's tax, but applies only to items covered by the audit. Here, during the audit, neither side had taken any position on the items leading to the new refund claims, so the company remained free to make them. Doesn't it just make sense? The IRS just keeps trying to flex its muscles. How about this? The IRS loses. They cannot get work papers of companies' accountants. You know, tax accounting work papers generally are not protected by any privilege of confidentiality, such as a lawyer-client privilege. But in a recent case, when the IRS summoned work papers, the company refused to provide them, saying that they were included notes to the lawyers about how likely the IRS was to challenge certain items and the amount of reserves set aside to cover the challenges. Well, they went to court. This is what the judge said. The work papers were privileged from the IRS because they were prepared in anticipation of litigation against the IRS. Their only value to the IRS was not in revealing the company's tax liability, but in revealing the litigation strategy. Therefore, the company can keep them secret. Just makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. How about this? The IRS loses. I love it. They have to pay taxpayers' legal costs for a conceded case. The IRS tried to hold Clyde T. Kinnison personally liable for $160,000 in employment taxes that it said his business owed. But the IRS eventually admitted that it sent the tax assessment after the deadline for doing so and conceded the case. Kinnison then asked the court to order the IRS to pay his legal costs. The IRS said that it shouldn't have to do so because the position had been reasonable until it missed the assessment deadline. Well, this is what the judge said. In administrative deadline, in the administrative proceedings, Kinnison had offered the IRS evidence that the tax had been paid, but the IRS rejected it, giving no reason. That was unreasonable, so the IRS must pay Kinnison's cost from that date until the date that it actually did concede the case. Now that just makes sense. They can't have their cake and eat it too. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. Yeah, a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Well, you know what? These are not actual tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS is doing and decisions that they've made that if you know about them, you can actually use them to your benefit most of the time. Sometimes, let's just get to it. Here's something, how to understand how the IRS actually interprets tax law. The IRS begins the interpretation process by issuing regulations that's proposed, temporary, and final, and the additional guidance is provided by revenue rulings, private letter rulings, field service advice, notices, actions on decision, technical advice memoranda, and audit guidelines. Now, for details on each of these, visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Ultimately, the validity of the IRS's view of the law is tested in court cases. Sometimes the IRS is found to be right, and it wins. Other times, its interpretation is found to be inconsistent with the intent of Congress, which actually drafted the law. What course to follow? Read professional publications and law review articles. An internet search will help you find all of these things to help you decide how to proceed in regard to a specific tax issue. Or, the best bet, retain a knowledgeable tax professional, somebody that does this for a living and does it every day, a licensed, competent professional. Well, how about this? You ever think about mortgage defaults in the IRS? Well, I can tell you, cancellation of debt, that COD, is going to be a real concern for the many taxpayers who've defaulted on their home mortgages. The bank holding the mortgage is required to file with the IRS Form 1099-C, that's cancellation of debt, reflecting the amount of cancellation of debt required to be reported on your tax return as income. Well, there's a tax trap here. The cancellation of debt income amount may include unpaid principal, accrued interest, penalties, and attorney's fees. So the loophole here, if you're insolvent under state law, that means your liabilities exceed your assets. When you default, the amount of cancellation of debt is not considered income. So kind of keep that in mind the next time you're moving around the place. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you all about tax savings. Whoops, I take it back. I'm on the wrong spot here. I'm going to tell you all about how to make the most of a loan from your company. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Still 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 54 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it is 64 degrees and it is clear. So, you know what? Things are looking up and things are looking good. That's for doggone sure. But right now, what I want to do is I want to to tell you how to make the most of a loan from your company. And you know what? Just listen in. This is going to be good stuff for you. First of all, business owners may find themselves short of cash while the company has ample liquid reserves. If that's the case, it might be tempting to borrow money from the business. Now, such tactics may make sense, especially if the alternatives are taking a bank loan or running a credit card balance, but proceed cautiously to avoid tax traps and other dangers. Here's the deal. You need to defend against dividends. Avoid simply transferring funds from the company's bank account to your own, making a mental note that this is a loan. Now, here's a trap. If the IRS examines your personal or business records, the transfer might be considered a dividend, and the result, the entire amount could be taxable income to you. Now, a $50,000 loan, for example, could add $50,000 to your income for the year. Moreover, dividends are not deductible for the company. If you run your business as a regular C corporation, the amount of the transfer could be subject to both personal and corporate income tax. So here's a strategy for you. Any loan between the company and an employee, especially if the employee is a shareholder, should be formalized. The loan document should state an interest rate, repayment terms, and procedures to be followed in case of a default. And if you're the borrower, adhere to those terms of the loan. Now, there's added protection to defend against the possible future charge that the transfer was a dividend. Record the loan in your corporate minutes. Make a note of the effect that a loan is being made to a corporate executive to relieve personal financial pressures and thus facilitate performance of business-related responsibilities. A loan will look more realistic if some interest is charged, even at a below-market rate, and if that interest is paid on schedule. Well, what about a lack of interest? You know what is mentioned, a company to shareholder loan will be on the safest ground if interest is charged and paid. Now, for the best tax outcomes, such interest will be at a market rate. It will be treated as a loan rather than a taxable gift or dividend. However, you might prefer to pay a below market interest or rate of interest or no interest at all. Well, let's talk about the tax treatment of that. With very few exceptions, interest in such cases will be imputed by the IRS on loans between employers and employees. So let me give you an example of that. Let's just say Walt Smith is the 100% owner of ABC Incorporated. He borrows $50,000 from the company, interest-free. At the time of the transaction, the applicable federal rate published by the IRS is 4%. So here's the result. Imputed interest of $2,000, that's 4% of the $50,000, is going to be included in Walt's income each year. Now, Walt might be able to take an offsetting $2,000 deduction, but he might not. If he uses the loan proceeds for personal purposes other than acquisition of a residence, no interest deduction will be allowed. If he uses the money for investing, interest deductions will be allowed only to if Walt has taxable investment income to offset that. And below market loans, instead of an interest-free loan, Walt might have agreed to pay, say, 2% interest on his company. In that case, the loan is 2 percentage points below the annual figured rate, and the annual imputed interest would be then $1,000, 2% of the $50,000 loan. So you always need to know what the annual rate is that the IRS posts. How about a low-cost debt? Suppose that Walt uses the proceeds for personal expenses. He will owe tax on $2,000 worth of income from imputed interest and get no tax deduction. Even so, such a transaction might be advisable. Why? Assuming an effective 40% tax rate, federal, state, local, Walt would owe $800 per year in tax on the $2,000 of imputed income. If Walt borrowed the same $50,000 from the bank, in today's interest rate environment, he might have paid 8% interest, or $4,000 a year. Even worse, putting $50,000 worth of debt on credit cards would probably have cost much more interest. So the bottom line, using a no-interest or low-interest loan from your company might be the best way to get your hands on needed cash. Now, try to start repaying the loan as soon as possible. If no repayment has been made after several years, the transaction may start to look like a dividend, with the undesirable tax treatment described before when I gave it to you earlier. Now, employing the exceptions. In some situations, no interest or below market loans between employers and employees are exempt from imputed interest tax rules. And here's an exception for you. Loans that total no more than $10,000 will not trigger imputed interest. Also, exception number 2, relocation loans also may be exempt from these interest rules. And then, how about, let me give you an example. Let's just say that XYZ Corporation moves its headquarters from Wyoming to Arizona, and Beth Jones, the sole shareholder of XYZ, also moves to a new home in Arizona. XYZ makes Beth an interest-free loan to help her buy her new home. No interest will be imputed. And what's required? To avoid imputed interest, the loan must be secured by Beth's new residence. The note will say that the house will be sold in order to pay off the loan if necessary. The relocation must involve a move of at least 50 miles, and the loan must not be transferable. The company can't sell the note to another party and must oblige the borrower to perform future services the borrower promises to work for the company. In addition, the rules state that the borrower must certify that the employer that he or she expects to itemize deductions each year the loan is outstanding. So if you need to see the regulation on that, take a look at Regulation 8782-5T, and you'll get it. But exception number 3, in some cases, the imputed interest rules can be avoided on bridge loans that are used to buy a new home while an existing residence is still on the market. What's required? All of the conditions that I gave you before for relocation loans must be met. In addition, the loan agreement must state that the loan will be repaid in full within 15 days after the sale of the old home. Now, the amount of the loan cannot be more than the borrower's reasonable estimate of the equity in the old home. Now, moreover, the old home must be sold rather than converted to business or rental property. So here's a strategy for you. For a relocation or bridge loan, the borrower should open a separate bank account for handling borrowed funds. Then the loan proceeds can be traced to the purchase of the new residence, strengthening the case for exemption from the imputed interest rules. And that, my friends, is exactly the way you work these things. And you know what? What you really need to do is, when you need to do these things, you need to go talk to your licensed professional, and you need to tell them what your needs are, what's going on, what you're trying to accomplish. And that licensed professional is going to guide you through these processes, because they can be a little strange if you're not familiar with them, and they'll get you through them so that you have the least amount of risk and liability sitting out there. And that's what you really want to do. Now, don't forget that coming up later on in the show, we're going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And today's story is going to be, Remember the Maine. Yeah. And then after, when we come back from our commercial break, I'm going to be answering your emails. But before we do that, after we do that, we're going to come back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Joel's going to be talking to us about new wireless technology and the deals that are sitting out there and all those kind of things. So don't go away. We're going to be right back with me answering your emails. And the first email out there is from Caitlin Schenkel from Arlington, Texas, asking about the criteria for being a full-time student. I'll answer those questions for you right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 87 degrees. At least it doesn't get any hotter. It's on its way down to 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, it's 61 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, listening to our show, it's 54 degrees with a little light rain showers. That's what's going on out there today. So, now you know what's going on in our world. You know what? Let's talk about answering some of your emails. My first email today came from Caitlin Shankle from Arlington, Texas. She's asking about being a full-time student and says, how many months must a student attend school during the year to be a full-time student? My daughter graduates from college in May after going to school for less than half the year. Will that make her a full-time student so that I can claim her as a dependent? Well, Caitlin, excuse me, for a child to qualify as a dependent, the IRS says that he or she must be under the age of 19 at the end of the tax year or under the age of 24 if it's a full-time student for at least 5 months of the year. Now, her going to school for the first 5 months through May will be sufficient to provide you with a dependency exemption for her if she's under the age of 24. So hopefully that answers your question. Our next email comes from Tyler Smith from Colorado Springs, Colorado, asking about convertible bonds and says, I'm considering investing in convertible bonds, but if I convert them to stock shares in the future, what will the tax consequences be? Will there be a taxable gain on the exchange, or only when the shares are actually later sold? Well, you know what, Tyler? A convertible bond is one that gives its owner the option to exchange it for a specified number of shares of stock in the company that actually issued those bonds. Now, usually, a bond owner is going to choose to make such an exchange only if the company's share prices rise to the point where the shares received in the exchange have a value greater than that of the bonds. So the swap actually produces a gain. But even so, no currently taxable gain or loss results from such an exchange. Taxable gain or loss is going to be deferred until the acquired stock shares are subsequently disposed of. And the basis in the stock will be what you actually paid for the bonds. So hopefully that answers your question. Next email comes from Allison Staffanoff from Los Angeles, California, asking about mortgage interest, and says, is mortgage interest deductible under alternative minimum tax? That's AMT rules. Are long-term capital gains taxed under the AMT? Well, you know what? Interest paid on a loan used to acquire or improve a home is deductible under AMT rules, but interest on home equity borrowing used for other purposes, such as a vacation, is not deductible under the AMT. Now, long-term capital gains are taxed at the same rate under AMT as under normal rules, but capital gains may push total taxable income up beyond the AMT exempt amount of $58,000 on joint returns and $40,750 on single returns. Just kind of keep that in mind. And also it might increase state income taxes, which aren't deductible under the AMT and may create AMT liability. So capital gains may indirectly create an increase AMT liability. So you want to be careful and always, before you make these moves, before, not after, talk to your licensed professional. They're going to be the ones that are going to help you all the time. So don't make a move like this without talking to a licensed professional. They're generally always going to save you more money than they cost you. And finally, my last email comes from Jillian Stewart from Mesa, Arizona, asking about the lottery in taxes, and says, if I win a lottery that pays $50 million over 20 years and then die after 2 years, is the remaining part of the $50 million subject to estate tax? How would my estate pay all that tax when the payments will only come in over the remaining 18 years? It's a good question, Jillian, and here's the answer. You may not like it. The current value of all the future payments is subject to estate tax when you die, and finding the money to pay your tax can be a real problem when most of the payments won't actually arrive until well into the future. The simplest solution is to buy a life insurance policy that'll cover that tax, if you can anyway, or make an arrangement with the IRS, which is unlikely, by the way. But your best bet, elect a cash payment instead. Now, consult with an insurance, tax, and financial expert who can actually plan out the best strategy for you. That's always going to be the best bet. We always tell you to contact a licensed professional. They're not only going to save you money in the long run, they'll save you more than they cost you, but they're going to give you peace of mind and help you sleep at night, because you're not going to have to worry about the IRS knocking on your door or sending you one of those letters. They're going to have you taken care of right from the get-go, and that's really the kind of stuff that you want to have going on. Always use a tax professional. The other thing is, I want to remind you all to go out and get our app. You know what? You can get us all over the world. We're on radio stations, and we're on internet radio, and we're on iHeartRadio, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere, and you can get us. But if you get our app, and it's so easy and it's absolutely free, just go to your app store, whether you have an Apple product or an Android or Windows product, just go to your app store and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app will pop up, you can download it, it's absolutely free, and that'll let you listen to our show live, if we're doing it live like we are now, or it'll let you listen to any of our archives. They're all going to be right there for you, and you can listen to them at your own pleasure, your own leisure. And that would really help. You know what? We'd love it for you to tell your friends about our show here at Robert Cardoza Live. We're pretty sure that they would enjoy the show. I think that you'd be glad you did. They'll be glad you did. And I most certainly will be glad you did. There's no question about that. So tell your friends about our show here at Robert Cardoza Live. Now, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. And Joel's going to be here talking about, the newest, greatest deals that are out there in wireless technology. And he'll tell us about what's good and what's bad. I think he's got some tips he's been wanting to talk to us about for a long, long while. So we'll talk to Joel about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:57 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's saying now that it's gone down from 90 degrees and that it's on its way to 63 degrees. It'll be a lot more palatable. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 64 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, it is currently 68 degrees and it's raining. Well, we're sitting here and we're waiting for our own Dr. Wireless. He usually calls in by now, but he should be calling in any minute, and then we'll put him on the air. But you know what? I want to remind you that coming up is going to be our tribute to the late great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. He's the biggest and best voice in America. He reveals the startling heartbeats and behind all the scenes. Paul Harvey is one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators, heard on over over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations. He's seen on 110 television stations and read in 300 newspapers. He's the recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He's on the Gallup's poll list of America's most admired men. You know what? And today's story is actually going to be Remember the Maine. You know what I'm hoping is that Joel is going to remember to call in. This is it's not like him not to call in when he's supposed to. So let's see if I can maybe reach him and see if he's paying attention to what's happening here. So let's give him a shot here. I'm just going to write down. I'm going to text him and see if maybe he gets this thing and says, "Oh my God, I forgot." You know, we'll see what transpires. He should be calling in any second. Let's see here. You know what? I thought I saw him, but I think I missed him. In any event, he should be calling in any moment now. And the truth is he's not scheduled till 4, but he usually calls about 5 minutes to 4 Pacific time, and we'll see what actually transpires with that. It should be any second. And but if he doesn't call, what we might wind up doing is just filling in with another story or something like that. I can tell you that yesterday, if you had the opportunity of listening to our show yesterday, and I hope you did, we had our own Sean Lefebvre on here. We're talking healthcare, and man, what an articulate young man he is. He's temporarily in Wichita, Kansas. And he's, going to be out there for 2-3 months. He's helping a colleague straighten out their business. And when he gets all done with that, he'll be coming back to sunny Southern California. But boy, he was talking about so many controversial things. And he's such an articulate man. He's got an open mind to everything. It's just worth really listening to him and getting these things done. So we'll see what transpires with it. You know what? I've got half a notion to maybe give you a Paul Harvey story. I'm not sure what's going on with Joel. I'm going to try him one more time, see what transpires here. But he generally gives us our call, so we'll see what actually transpires. Let me try him again. I'll just put that down in here. Please call now. Now let's see if he gets that one. He should be getting it. It says it's delivered, so he should be getting it in any second. He should be calling in. You know what? What I'm going to do though is I'm going to prepare for us to maybe do a couple of other things here. Let's see here. Why don't I? You know what? Let me pick up some tax tips, and let's just see if I can pull up some tax tips for you. And we can do that in the interim, and we'll talk about those kinds of things. You know what? You ever think about giving a car to charity? Sometimes it can be a real problem, a donation to charity. So, who wouldn't like to do well while doing good, right? And thanks to a blitz of ads from charities, millions of Americans think that they've found a way to do exactly that. When buying a new car, they donate the old one to charity and claim a big tax deduction. And so sometimes that's really the answer to what's going to go on here. Here's some background for you. There we go. And you know what? It's always better late than never. And our own Dr. Wireless Joel Saltzman's here. Now that I've lost the rest of my hair, my heart is beating at about 120 beats a minute. And I've been ad-libbing for God knows how long. It seems like maybe 3 hours. I don't have to do that any longer because Dr. Wireless is here. And even though he can't help me physically, he might be able to give me a break. Hey, Joel, you're on the air.
Hey, Robert, you may need to keep on ad-libbing. I've got a little problem here. My computer's been down, and I'm trying to get it up, and I didn't realize what time it is, but we can maybe try to wing it.
Okay, yeah, we can wing it. Here's the deal. I'm old. I've been trying to get it up for a long time.
Well, I'm not even going to go there.
Hey, we were actually talking the other day, last week, and you had... I think it was 8 tips that you wanted to give out there. And I don't know, and obviously, if your computer you can't get it up, you probably can't get to those tips anyway. But let's talk about something that you probably have on the tip of your tongue, and that is the fact that these wireless companies seem to be changing their rules and their regulations and their deals very much like we change our underwear almost daily. And I
notice that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you keep up with it? Doesn't it scare you, Joel, that the deal you're giving out one day and you're trying to get somebody to switch to the company that might be best for them, that the following day that's not no longer a good deal if somebody else did something better?
That's exactly what's going on right now. The deals do keep changing. As you know, Sprint and T-Mobile are now offering unlimited data on many of their plans, although it's 480p resolution, not 1080p, so you give up a little bit of resolution, but it is certainly fast enough to stream video, DVD quality. So those plans seem to be pretty popular. Verizon is still not offering unlimited, but they're throttling now, meaning they'll just slow you down instead of charging you extra. And they have upped the amount of data that they are giving you. We've got that great deal, $160 for 20 gigabytes for people.
Yeah, I was wondering, what if you only have two people in your household? Do they have alternatives? And the other thing is that at some point, are all of these wireless companies simply going to have plans that far exceed what the need is anyway? And so at some point, these enticements to get more broadband and more speed and all this stuff really becomes meaningless because you can't use what they're already offering?
Well, that's hard to say if that's going to happen. Nobody wants to give anything away, but then again, nobody wants to lose people to their competitors who are giving stuff away. So it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. They'll continue to find ways to, make things look attractive, and on the back end probably take away a little bit as well, like they did with the speeds.
Yeah. Do you think is it the new technology in the phones that are requiring the bigger speeds? Is it because they can actually work faster? I mean, my phone appears to work really fast, and so I'm wondering how much faster could it really go?
Well, that's a lot of it. The phones, every year, iPhones have the A8 processor, the A9, the A10. They keep getting bigger. They keep getting more memory, and obviously they can move faster. And as data speeds, are also increasing, people are using more data.
Yeah. So so data is really the clue here, isn't it? It's not really the telephone or the email or anything else. It's the transfer of data that you need all of that speed for, right?
It's all about the data. Definitely all about the data.
Yeah.
Everybody needs data, and that's minutes are unlimited these days. Text messaging is unlimited these days. So it's all about the data. But interestingly, I think what we can talk about is the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus. Don't know if you heard about the Consumer Reports ratings recently, but they compared the cameras on the new devices versus the cameras on the old devices.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Well, they really didn't find much of a difference on the 7 versus the 6S. And as I've been saying, there's never been a better time to get a 6 or a 6S. The 6s have dropped as low as $449. They were $649 2 years ago. They were $549 a week ago. So the 6 is one of the best models out there. And based on what I'm reading and from Consumer Reports and from the analysts, it seems to me these new devices are nice, but it's more to iOS 10 than the actual iPhone devices that are so cool. Mm-hmm. So my feeling is, I think the best move at this point is to get a 6 or a 6S and download iOS 10.
Yeah.
And you're going to get most of the benefits that you're going to find on the new phone. And you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, which you're not going to get on the 7 or the 7 Plus.
Right. Well, didn't I see?
Now, they did say, not to cut you off, but they did say on the 7 Plus that because you can do wide angle and 55 millimeter optical zooming, that there was some benefits as far as people who want to zoom, and shoot wide angle versus the regular ones. But otherwise, the camera on the 7, the 12 megapixel, not a lot different than the one that's on the 6S.
I thought I saw a deal, and I honestly forget where I saw it. It came in the mail, where if you have a 6 or a 6S, they'll give you a $300 credit against it for a 7.
Better than that, actually, Robert. And this is with all carriers right now. Even AT&T, all of them will give you a free iPhone 7 if you trade in a 6, a 6 Plus, a 6S, or a 6S Plus, meaning they're actually giving you $650 towards that new device.
Wow.
So they do want to get people into these new devices in the worst way.
So reading between the lines, there's got to, you got to ask yourself why, right? Because they're just not that benevolent. There's got to be a reason why.
Well, the reason they're doing it why is the carriers figured out that everything is month to month, but in order to get this deal, you got to sign up for 24 months, meaning they're giving you that discount on a monthly basis over 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stay with the carrier for 24 months for that phone to be totally free. If you leave in 6 months or a year, you're going to pay what's still owed on that free phone.
Now, if you do a deal like that, Joel, is the phone locked or is it unlocked? At the end of 24 months, can you move somewhere else?
You can move somewhere else. Verizon's iPhones are all unlocked from the factory. The rest of the carriers are locked, but the beautiful thing about this is if you want to move from one carrier to the other, they're all buying each other out.
Oh.
So it's not very difficult. You don't have to wait for contract to end. What some people are doing is paying the buyout ahead of time. If their phone isn't bought, in other words, if you still owe money on that phone, you got to buy it out before they're going to take it on a trade and give you $650 for it.
Right.
So that's how that's working.
Yeah,
but like I said, there's never been a better time to get an iPhone, and you don't have to get the 7 or 7 Plus to get a great device. And the same goes true for anybody out there. I wouldn't do it with the 5C, 5S, or not recommending doing that iOS 10 upgrade. But anybody on a 6 or 6S should definitely do it. And they're going to feel like they got a brand new phone.
So let me ask you, because I do have the 5S, and I did do the iOS 10 upgrade, and I love that thing.
Well, you may be okay, and you may not have had any problems, but everything I've been seeing, I've talked to some of my Apple buddies who work in Cupertino,
mm-hmm.
and they said that they didn't recommend doing the upgrade on any of the 5. On the regular 5, definitely not. They said the 5S would probably be okay.
Mm. Okay.
So, as evidence, you're not having problems, so that's great.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm using the new iOS, and it's working fine for me. I haven't had any issues since the first day.
Yeah. Other than the only issue I have, and it's really not an issue, is that when I upgraded to the iOS 10, all of my apps had to upgrade, and so all of a sudden I had like 40 apps that were on my phone that all needed to upgrade, which they did automatically. It is not like it was a real inconvenience, but it was just something I happened to notice.
Well, it's a good thing they upgraded, because it can get difficult if they don't.
Yeah. So I mean, but I'm loving the iOS 10. It's just, I think it's terrific.
Yeah, everybody I'm talking to seems to love it and have noticed the new functionality. There are a couple cool things what I like about it is the raise to wake, so you can raise your phone up and it wakes it up.
Yeah,
which is kind of neat. And you can turn that off if you want, but I like that feature. And then the other thing that I like is the quick camera launch. I don't know if you've tried that.
Yeah, I have tried it.
From the right to the left.
Yeah, you know what? There are a number of little tricks that iOS 10 does that really make it really nice.
You know, and in photos, you know, you can sort photos by faces now and by places, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've tried that.
No, I haven't tried it. I don't have I have less than 100 photos on my phone. You know, so I'm not like the guy that's got thousands of photos in there. Matter of fact, the truth is, that's one of the areas where I try to conserve memory. When I start getting too many photos, I start looking at them, seeing which ones I can get rid of, and just put them up into the cloud.
Well, photos, video, and apps you're not using, and that's the other thing that they brought. You can now hide stock apps, useless apps that were cluttering your home screen. You can now delete them, which you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't delete the integral ones, but a lot of them now you can delete, which you previously couldn't do. So that's kind of neat.
The nice part about that is you can delete these things, and if later on you want it back, they don't charge you for it. You just go in there and say download it back onto my phone, and you can start using it immediately.
Exactly. I don't know if you noticed, but you now have voicemail transcription. You know, I use Google for that, Google Voice, but now it's native. It's built in. And what that means is if you miss a call from somebody, you don't have to listen to it. It gives you a full transcription of the message from your voicemail tab. So you can actually, press, play, or you can read it. It'll play the message, or you can actually read it. Sometimes the transcriptions aren't perfect, and they're only available in English at this time also. So for people that are using different languages, that's not going to work yet.
You know what?
The keypad is bilingual, but you can't talk to it yet.
I was having lunch with a friend of mine last Friday, and one of the things I noticed is that and he's using his phone where normally he would have to answer a text or an email, he would have actually used his finger and typed it in there. Now he's just using voice for everything.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. I've been doing that for messaging. What's nice about this new iOS, the other thing is you can use Siri with third-party apps, and you couldn't do that previously. So, you can say, order me a lift.
Yeah.
And you can order a lift, or you can say open WhatsApp, or open LinkedIn, or open Square Cash, or Pinterest, or any of these, and it does work with a lot of the apps. Not all the apps, and they're going to keep increasing that. The other cool thing is lyrics. Now you can do sing-alongs because in Apple Music they'll now give you the lyrics.
Then you don't get to listen to the song.
Well, that's true too, and you may not want to hear other people singing songs.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever heard my wife sing, you wouldn't. No, I'm not going to go there. Anyway,
don't go there.
But I'll tell you what, there are times when I will look up lyrics of a song, and they have lyric. You may or may not be familiar. They have an app called Lyric Finder. Now you don't have to do that. You can actually ask Siri what the lyrics to a certain song are, and she'll put them right out there for you.
She will do that. She's pretty good with stuff like that.
Yeah, the only thing is and the question is that now Siri, unless you are charging your phone, won't come up when you just say "Hey Siri." And I wish I hadn't said that loudly because I'm scared to death. It's going to change my phone right now. But basically, what I have, the Mophie that I have, my phone can constantly be charging, and that works all the time. If I've got that thing transferring the charge, it makes it really kind of nice if you're driving or doing something else. You can just activate that thing and make it handless.
I'm going to give your users a tip right here, Robert. If you ever need to turbocharge your phone, you notice your phone is really low and you need to put a good charge on it very quickly. I've noticed if you put the device in airplane mode You can't receive calls or use it while you're doing it, but it will charge about 3 times faster.
Oh, really?
And yes, it's amazing how fast you can give it a quick pop.
Oh, wow, that's
Try
good
that
to know.
sometime. If you turn it off for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and charge it, you'll be shocked at how fast it'll charge.
Oh, I'm going to try that. That makes a lot of sense. Can you do the same thing with iPads?
Yes, and if you think of it as a bucket, a big bucket or a boat with a hole in it, and you know you're trying to add water to it, but it's emptying as fast as it's going in, almost. And that's the problem when these phones are running and you've got the Bluetooth and you've got the Wi-Fi and you've got the GPS and all that other stuff going. You're charging it, but it's charging slow because you're losing power, and it's not gaining as fast.
Well,
so by turning everything off, it's just a huge. I was shocked.
That's a great tip. I'm going to try that just for the heck of it tonight. Hey, listen, we got to take a short break, Joel. When we come back, we'll talk. Either your computer will be working, or we'll just keep talking to each other and having a nice conversation. How's that sound?
Well, I hope everything will go up. But anybody, what we're talking about, I guess. This stuff is there. I just can't get to it. But www.drwireless.com. Otherwise, our Facebook page, Facebook.com/drwireless. And I can also be contacted at joel@drwireless.com.
And we'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We've got a lot of great show for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:24 p.m. Pacific time. Still 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. But you know what? If you're out there in Wichita, Kansas with our good buddy Sean LaFave, it's 89 degrees, mostly cloudy and humid as hell. But you know what? If you're out in God's country, out there by the beach in Torrance, California, it's 78 degrees and clear. Anybody that's not surfing must be listening to our radio show. Hey, Dr. Wireless, you've got the microphone.
Well, I'm listening to your radio show.
So, you know what? What a beautiful day. It is just drop dead gorgeous outside today.
It sure is. It sure is.
You ever wonder why you live in Southern California, Joel?
Oh, I know, because you can't beat it. I was going to say, I don't know if you heard about what happened in North Korea, but there's probably a DNS administrator looking for a new job if they didn't execute him.
What happened?
Well, he apparently made a mistake, and you know how some countries, like Germany, have, their web addresses end in .de, and Japan ends in .jp. Mm-hmm. Well, Korea was using .kp, and generally, you cannot access their sites. Everything is pretty much locked down. But for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, some websites with that KP began to appear. Oh. And apparently, they only have 28 websites in Korea that end in the KP, which is what most of them do. And not by design, this information was released. I don't think they're very happy about that. And I guess most of those websites that appeared have stopped functioning, by Wednesday morning.
And along with the guy in charge of them, right?
Exactly. And they're not sure whether it's just because they were unprepared for all the traffic they were going to get, or whether, they knocked off this guy. Who knows? But anyway, if that's all if they only have 28 websites, and I think a couple of them were social media type sites, no Facebooks or anything like that. But it's a closed national internet that they offer.
If people, I read a book about people that were contracted to go to North Korea and teach different subjects, English and different subjects there, and if they're allowed internet access, can they actually send texts and emails here to the United States, or would that be not possible?
I don't think it'd be possible. I don't know that, Robert, to be honest with you. I couldn't tell you that for sure, but I believe that everything is pretty much closed over there. So I'd be surprised if you could do that. But I can't answer that, so I really don't know.
Yeah, but it just boggles my mind that we could have such an open system, and then there would still be a place that was so archaically shut down to the world that it's not there.
Yeah, did you hear about this? Not to change the subject, but for those Samsung Galaxy Note 7 owners, and there are still folks out there with these devices who have not returned them.
These are the ones that are catching fire?
Yep. What they've done is they now have a safety alert on all units that will pop up regularly. Every time that you plug in a Galaxy Note 7, every time you power it on or put it on a charger. So it urges customers to immediately turn off their handset and contact Samsung to arrange a convenient exchange.
It makes you wonder.
And they now have a new improved version that doesn't explode.
Well, I would hope, right? Especially if you're sitting on that sucker, every once in a while, if you put that phone in a location you sure as heck wouldn't want it to catch fire on. But it makes you wonder about those individuals that are using that phone. How could they not know of the danger in the fact that Samsung is offering a replacement?
Well, they know now if they didn't know before.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And they've had, I think, about 70 of these things actually catch fire. So it's not just one or two.
Yeah, and I mean, what a danger. What a scary thought.
Yeah, it is a little bit frightening, I would think.
Well, depending on where you're at and the circumstances, it could just be really catastrophic. It could be a horrible, horrible thing.
Well, it's a horrible, horrible thing for Samsung because they're going to take a brutal beating on this recall. It's going to cost them a ton of money.
Yeah.
And you got to know Apple's loving this.
Well, yeah, it's not only going to cost them a ton of money in the recall, it's going to cost them a ton of money with regard to customer loyalty.
Exactly. A lot of people are thinking, do they want a Samsung product now?
Yeah.
I was thinking about actually moving over, and I told you I had a problem with my Samsung dishwasher, which kind of gave me hesitation. Then I heard the 7 was exploding, and then I definitely figured, no, you know what, this iPhone 6S isn't so bad.
Yeah, that's for sure. Every day I start getting a bug about do I want the new phone? Do I want the latest and greatest and all the bells and whistles? And I keep thinking I don't even use all the bells and whistles on the phone that I do have. What is wrong with me? And I love everything about my phone.
Yeah, well, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think when we last spoke, I think I had mentioned that T-Mobile had sent a message out to me saying absolutely do not do the iOS 10 upgrade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife is the one who pointed it out, and I had already done it. So, there wasn't much I could do. But she hadn't done it, and we got a message from the CEO of T-Mobile saying, do not do this upgrade yet. We're having issues. And then 48 hours later, we got to go ahead and do it. And, everything's been fine for me. But there are some steps that people need to take to prepare their iPhones for iOS 10. So, anybody thinking about doing this upgrade really needs to take preparations. And the first thing you need to do is determine if your iPad or iOS 10, iPhone is even compatible with the upgrade. And Apple says anything from the 5 up, to the 7 Plus, and any iPad from the iPad Mini 2 to the iPad Pro 12.9 inch is fine, and any iPod Touch 6th generation is fine. But even still, I'd be careful if you have a 5 or a 5C. You've got the 5S, you didn't have any problems.
Right.
I don't know that I would do this on the 5, but it's a good idea just to make preparation, make some extra space. Most people will do what you did. Will start deleting photos or moving them to the cloud and moving videos, and that those seem to take the most space. But you need enough space, storage space, to be able to do this download. The biggest occupier of storage space is always going to be photo and video, your photo and video library. And then obviously you can delete unwanted apps now. And once you do that, then you're almost prepared. What you may want to do is, I always recommend, and what you did, you should update your apps before doing this iOS 10 upgrade.
Yeah, boy, that's true.
You said you did the upgrade first, and then the apps had to be updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, my recommendation would be to do those upgrades first with your 9.3.4, 9.3.5, and then go ahead and once you do the upgrades, do the iOS upgrade. But that's my recommendation. The other very, very important thing is before you do anything, back it up.
Yeah, boy, you know what? You can say that again. I learned years ago.
Back it up.
always back it up, boy, because you never know what's going to happen. And if the one time you don't back it up, that is the time something's going to happen.
This is true. And not only would I back it up, and most people either use the cloud or iTunes, and you can back it up with either. I back it up with both.
Yeah, why not?
No, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's
why
a very good idea. You can't hurt yourself doing it that way. And I find that the iTunes backups tend to be a little more thorough. So it's a good idea.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And let's see what else is going on. The other interesting piece of information, anybody who wants to go to our site, again, drwireless.com/blog. I have some interesting information up there. I'm assuming it's still up there. I didn't take it down, so there's no reason it wouldn't be. But I don't know if you ever noticed when you get messages, text messages, sometimes you got like a blue bubble.
Oh,
sometimes you got like a green colored bubble.
Yes.
And a lot of people, are kind of confused as far as, what is that? Why is there a difference? Why are the bubbles different colors? And I explain it on the website, drwireless.com/blog, and it has to do with what kind of messaging you're using. If you're using iMessaging, then it's blue, I believe. And if you're using the regular, SMS, MMS text messaging, then it's green.
Is there a preference of one over the other?
Well, I mean, you can do more with the Apple messaging.
Yeah, I think mine just automatically chooses whatever is available when I'm doing it. Sometimes
I think a lot of times I think by default what happens is it's probably uses iMessaging. Mm-hmm. But if you send a message to somebody with an Android, BlackBerry, or who doesn't have an iPhone, it will go out as an SMS or MMS, and that used to be a problem at one point. Where it wouldn't go out at all.
Yeah. And
Apple was forced to make these compatible.
I think it's just amazing. It's mind blowing that you're sitting here using your phone. You don't know how the thing works at all, but the phone is able to decide what the best kind of procedure is to send this out to another phone.
It is pretty amazing, how the phones do know. But there isn't a lot of differences. I do know with the iMessaging that there is some new functionality. You can actually, put emojis on there. You can actually write with your finger, handwriting. With iMessaging or sending pictures. So some interesting stuff you can do. But again, I have this on our site, iMessage versus MMS, SMS. And iMessaging is blue and SMS is green. So right away, that's going to tell some people, what's coming in and why.
Well, you know what? You're going to be happy about my next comment, and that is that it's time for you to give out that contact information because we have filled all the time.
Wow, well, that's great because my computer's still down and we were winging it. But I guess
what's going on with it? What's going on? What's going on? Did it just crash on you or what?
It did. I was working on it and it just kind of froze and I didn't realize what time it was. And then I got your messages and I kind of had to leave it. And it's still, I got a little spinning thing here. So I got to figure out what's going on. I have Wi-Fi. The cell phone's working. But anyhow, I know you're running out of time. Everything we talked about and winged it about is on our site, www.drwireless.com. I can be reached at joel@drwireless.com. We have some of this material on our Facebook page, which is Facebook/drwireless. And a lot of this is on our blog, which is www.drwireless.com/blog.
You know what? This was a great show, Joel. Every once in a while, I think it makes it's an exercise for our mind to actually have a conversation that's not pre-programmed.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I don't know that I want to do this regularly, but it's nice to see that we can wing it and not sound totally incompetent. So,
yeah. All right, my friend. Hey, listen, I hope you get your computer all taken care of, and I look forward to talking to you next Wednesday.
Likewise, going to work on it now.
All righty, and the rest of you folks, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then right after that, it's our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Don't go away. We got some great show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. Still 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 63 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 59 degrees and it's partly cloudy. And if you're in Hong Kong, well, 77 degrees with some scattered cloud. But right now, what I want to talk to you about is the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is highlight your loyalty when negotiating a raise. Yeah. You've probably heard this before. The only way to get a raise is to get another job offer. Yeah, the outside offer can work, but you need to do it carefully. Otherwise, you risk appearing disloyal if you intimate that you're going elsewhere, even if you have no intention of leaving. Instead of risking your position by issuing threats, subtly nudge your manager into giving you a raise by highlighting your loyalty. Even if you've looked into other jobs or have gone on some interviews, you can emphasize how much you like your job and the organization. You might say, I've gotten a lot of calls from headhunters, but I'm not interested. This shows your boss that you have alternatives but aren't unfaithful. If you do have an offer in hand, explain that you interviewed because you wanted to explore what else was actually out there, but you don't really want to take it. You might say, I love it here. I'm committed to staying, and I also want to be paid fairly. Now, that does make sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. It's about that positive mental attitude. It's about you deciding what your life is going to be like. You decide whether you're going to be rich or poor, whether you're going to be a success or a failure, whether you're going to be happy or sad. You decide that every morning when you wake up and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, this is going to be a great, profitable, productive day, and I'm going to make everybody glad that they're with me. Well, you know what the teaching for today is? I am convinced that if we can eat our food in the present, entirely focused on the pleasurable experience of eating, the food is assimilated into our bodies perfectly. And the result in our bodies must be perfection. Well, just remember, it's not just about eating. It's the experience. It's the positive mental attitude. Yeah, it sure is. Well, you know what today is? Everybody does. Today's Wednesday. It's September the 21st, and it is somebody's birthday. Yes, sir. And we've got some terrific birthdays for today. So, you know what? Instead of just talking about them, why don't we just get to them? You know what? Here's a guy born in 1947, an American writer of horror fiction. Can you guess who it is? Well, he's estimated 300 to 350 million copies of his books have actually been sold. Happy birthday, Stephen King. Yeah, happy birthday, Steve. And here's a lovely lady born in 1967, a country singer known both for her commercial success and her marriage to fellow country star Tim McGraw. Happy birthday, Faith Hill. And finally, born in 1971, a film actor who's part of the Frat Pack, a group of actors that often work together. Actors include Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller, Jack Black. Happy birthday, Luke Wilson. Yeah. Well, let's talk about what happened today in history. And I can tell you that on September the 21st, 1937, J.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit was first published. And in 1981, get this one, Sandra Day O'Connor is unanimously approved by the United States Senate as the very first female Supreme Court justice. And then finally, in 2003, Galileo mission is terminated by sending the probe into Jupiter's atmosphere, where it is crushed by the pressure of the lower altitudes. Wow, can you imagine? Well, I can tell you, our quote for today comes from an actor, a really good actor, Ed Asner. And Ed says, raising a kid is part joy and part guerrilla warfare. I think that probably is true. Let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. Let's start off with this. Did you know a shark always has a row of smaller teeth developing behind its front teeth? Eventually, the smaller teeth move forward like a conveyor belt. And the front teeth, well, they just fall out. Yeah. Did you know that a little-known cathedral caverns near Grant, Alabama, has the world's largest cave opening, the largest stalagmite Goliath, and the largest stalagmite forest in the world? Wow. Gee, have you seen it? Have you ever been there? Wouldn't it be worth a trip? Might be exciting. Did you know it takes 1,100 watts to power a toaster? Seems like a lot, doesn't it? You know, the search engine Lycos is named for Lycosidae, the Latin name for the wolf spider family. Unlike other spiders that sit passively in their web, Wolf spiders are hunters, actively stalking their prey. Go figure. How about this? Libya is the only country in the world with a solid, single-colored flag, and it's green. And who cares? Yeah. Well, how about this? Do you know that the state of Maryland has no natural lakes? I didn't know that. And that's kind of interesting. How about this? Resin Bowie, the inventor of the Bowie knife, is buried at Point Gibson. Now, that would be important if I knew where Point Gibson was. I'll be darned. How about this? Did you know that Scotland has more redheads than any other part of the world? Now, that's kind of interesting. I actually thought it was Ireland, but I guess I'm wrong. Here's one for you. Rebecca Elizabeth Merrier was the very first woman to graduate top of the class at West Point, the United States Military Academy. The rankings are based on academic, military, and physical accomplishments. Wow. Congratulations, Rebecca. And how about this? The average person makes about 1,140 telephone calls each year. Now that seems like a lot. That's 100 a day. That's 100 a month, I guess. So that's 25 a week. I guess that's possible. Think about it. Did you know that the town of Titikelt in the Sahara Desert once went 10 years without rainfall? It must be a ghost town. Well, let me leave you with this. The Oscar Film Trophy is named after Oscar Pierce, a wealthy Texas farmer. Now, before the trophy had any name at all, Pierce's niece, then serving as librarian for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, commented that the statue reminded her of her uncle Oscar. A newspaper columnist overheard the chance remark and subsequently wrote that employees have affectionately dubbed their famous statuette Oscar, and the name stuck. Well, now you know. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And like I said, the story today is Remember the Maine. And I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7300. 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza, and it is time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And our story today is, remember the Maine? Yeah, remember the Maine? Gosh, you know what? The Maine was the United States battleship that got us into the Spanish-American War, not by the damage it did, but by the damage that was done to it. When the news screamed that the Spanish mine had sunk our ship in Havana Harbor, the now famous war cry began that would hurl us into war with Spain. Remember the Maine. Her story is the rest of the story. At 9:40 p.m. on February 15, 1898, the American battleship Maine exploded in the harbor of Havana, Cuba. There were 354 officers and men aboard. 266 lost their lives. The 300-foot vessel had been moored at the same spot since late January. Her purpose had been to defend American interests during the Civil War that Cuba was fighting against Spain. When news reached the mainland that the Spanish mine had dumped the Maine into Havana Harbor, the United States became actively involved. In 6 weeks, war was declared. Remember the Maine was the battle cry of the war. How dare they sink our ship? Remember the Maine, we cried as we went to war. For data concerning the incident, we'll turn to Admiral H.G. Rickover and to representatives of the Taylor Naval Ship Research and Development Center and the Naval Surface Weapons Center. Will you be patient with me while I delineate the findings of 3 separate examinations of the wreckage? It is important. One examination was performed in connection with the 1898 United States Court of Inquiry. A second was performed by Spanish divers also in 1898. And a third was performed in connection with the 1911 Board of Inspection and Survey. The description of the wreckage contained in the 1898 Court of Inquiry report was obtained basically from diver inspections in muddy water. The Spanish divers who investigated the Maine the same year were even more handicapped because they knew less about the ship's construction. That brings us to 1911. The Board of Inspection and Survey report. The Maine had been submerged for 13 years, and during those 13 years, various salvage operations had been carried out. But when they inspected the ship in 1911, it would be in the open air. A cofferdam was built. The Maine was dewatered. Every bit of the wreckage was accurately identified. The displacements were measured, and photographs were taken. Despite the time lapse between the explosion and the 1911 inspection, contemporary studies by the Naval R&D Center and the Surface Weapons Center are based on the 1911 data. These data, properly and carefully studied, are significantly revealing. The statements in the 1911 report describing the wreckage and the photographs and sketches of the wreckage are generally consistent with one another. The photographs were taken as the dewatering progressed and as the wreckage was dismantled. In some cases, material was removed in the interval between pictures, and this was taken into account in the interpretation of the photographs. Now, I know it seems we're being careful here to document this most recent study of the Maine, but when you hear the conclusion of the report, you'll understand why it's important that we be certain. This new revelation about our war with Spain may go mainly against the grain, but Admiral Rickover has confirmed his embarrassing theory with irrefutable fact. For when experts now observe the photographs of the wreckage, with hull sides and whole deck structures peeled back, it leaves no doubt. The explosion that sank our ship and catapulted us into the Spanish-American War was caused by a blast from 20,000 pounds of powder from the inside. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, don't forget, on my next show, Sean LaFave and I are going to be talking about healthcare on our Geared for Wellness section, and I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And tomorrow's story is going to be Establishment Boy. Yeah, I'll tell you all about that. And then please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did, you'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.